So today I'm going to be talking about Taiwan, also known as the Republic of China. So, as of what Group 1 discussed, the development path of Taiwan, described by Joe Studwell in his book How Asia Works, very much followed the path that he described. So it started first with agriculture and the distribution of land to farmers. But today I won't be talking much about that, and instead I'll focus on Taiwan's foreign trade and its information technology industry. So as you guys know, Taiwan is part of the four Asian tigers together with Hong Kong, Singapore, and South Korea. It is considered as the 11th largest economy in Asia in 2016 by the International Monetary Fund. And this is arranged by GDP. So the Philippines is 14th in Asia, while Taiwan is 11th. And then, so just some quick statistics comparing the Philippines to Taiwan. So in terms of economic growth rate, the Philippines is much faster with 6.6% versus Taiwan, probably because Taiwan is much more already developed than the Philippines, thereby having more gains to achieve in the Philippines. In terms of per capita growth rate, however, it's much larger than that of the Philippines with 22,044 compared to the Philippines of only 2,904. In terms of HDI, the category of Taiwan is very high human development with a figure of 0.882 versus the Philippines of 0.668 with medium human development. And in terms of total population, Taiwan's land area is much smaller than that of the Philippines by a lot. So their population is much smaller than that of the Philippines. And in terms of unemployment rate and poverty line, Taiwan is much smaller than that of the Philippines. But what really captures the difference between Taiwan and the Philippines is the trade balance, where Taiwan has a significant trade surplus of 3494.92 USD billion versus the Philippines trade deficit of negative 2.56 billion. Okay, so I'm going to move on to foreign trade and the information technology industry in Taiwan. So the reason why I chose these two things is because they're very much interrelated. You'll see how the information technology industry has greatly impacted foreign trade of Taiwan. So first, I'll talk about the foreign trade. So it has been foreign trade in Taiwan. It has been Taiwan's engine of rapid growth, and what everybody knows as the Taiwan miracle really wouldn't have been a success without the role of trade in the economy. So its economy remains export-oriented. So it depends on the world trade regime. And throughout the years, Taiwan has accumulated a substantial trade surplus, as seen in the graph here. So even since 2001, so this data is from the Ministry of Taiwan's website. It has been increasing till now. And then in terms of export composition, so it changed from predominantly agricultural products to industrial goods. So it transitioned to higher value-added goods from labor-intensive manufacturers. So they first started exporting agricultural products, but now the agriculture that they produce is more focused on domestic consumption. And they have specific policies like massive production subsidies and outright ban of imports in some agricultural commodities such as rice. And they were also previously a major export was garments and textiles, but this has decreased as well. So now Taiwan is more focused on shipping heavy industrial items like machinery, plastics, derivative products, transportation equipment, and fabricated items. But now, in the more recent years, it is the information industry in Taiwan that has greatly impacted the overall export values. So, for the information technology industry, one thing to understand is that what really made it a success for the development of Taiwan is the role of government and institutions. So what they did was they shaped their government, their policies, and institutions to a development that utilized the information technology industry. So what their long-term goal was to be the research and development hub of the Asia-Pacific region. So it was in the year 1980 that marked the inauguration of Taiwan's IT strategy. So this was when they had the government had a 10-year plan for the development of their IT industry. So it started with President Chiang Ching-kuo. He's actually the son of President Chiang Kai-shek. So, yeah, okay. And then in terms of the 10-year plan, there are actually two 10-year plans. It was very much like a 20-year plan. In the first plan, the goal was just it was like the formative stage of the industry. So it was just to develop the new industry and to promote the industry for exports. So with the strong support of the government and basically the private sectors, they were very responsive to the incentives set by the plan. It was a success and it was able to experience rapid growth. But this plan, it was more focused on hardware production and exportation. The second plan, it was more focused on software and the national market. So what their goal was for the second plan was make it more like an information society. So instead, the second plan was more focused on our research and development, computer application, IT output, and manpower training. So in the second plan, they were more focused on, training their people to be more knowledgeable about technology and also making sure that this IT industry was more developed in terms of research and development. So in terms of the institutions that shaped it, this is basically like what their organization was shaped. So each like person or each group or organization has a specific role to play in the formation of the IT industry. The executive unit cabinet was basically there for guidance in terms of what policies to implement. While these guys, like the National Science Council, these were the ones that were in charge of planning, coordinating, and monitoring. But what I'll be focusing on today is in terms of production and research and development. This one, IPRIII and PHSI, which I'll talk about now. So, the Hsinchu Science-Based Industrial Park, you guys are familiar with the Silicon Valley in the States, right? So basically in Taiwan, this is what they have. It is an industrial park established by the government to foster cutting-edge, state-of-the-art, specific and technological innovation. So the park is now the world's most significant center for semiconductor manufacturing and industrial computer technology development. So around more than 400 tech companies have been established here since 2003. And then these two institutes are the R&D powerhouses of Taiwan. So this is the Industrial Technology Research Institute. They're more focused on hardware, like R&D on hardware, computers, integrated circuits, and semiconductors. While the III is the Institute for Information Industry. It's more focused on software, market intelligence, and dissemination of information technology. So these two institutes, they're non-government institutes, but they played a vital role in Taiwan's economic growth. So what the role they played is that when Taiwan was shifting to a more labor-intensive industry, they were the ones who provided guidance, research, and guidance research to help the government and also private companies. And then just comparing it to what the Philippines now has. So basically, the Philippines Development Plan is not like that of Taiwan. Because first of all, our agriculture hasn't even gone through the process that Joe Studwell has described in his book. But besides that, what the Philippines lacks in terms of forming an IT industry like that of Taiwan is it lacks the government support or plans for the development of a much stronger IT industry. In fact, it doesn't even see the IT industry as a chance for growth for the Philippines. Instead, focuses on other things. And then, other than that, there are no institutions or institutions for R&D or the IT industry. It's very lacking. It's very weak, and there are no incentives to promote the growth of the industry. In terms of education, it's very like our education compared to that of Taiwan or any other more developed country. It's not at par. And even if we do produce graduates of engineering or research or science, it results much to brain drain because there are more developed industries in other countries where they can get proper training and better pay. So right now, in my opinion, the Philippines is not yet ready or doesn't have the right institutions or policies or capital to pursue an IT-led growth like that of Taiwan. But it's definitely not impossible. So we like what Taiwan did, you really have to work on it. You really have the specific plans, policies, and institutions set in place to make it happen. So that's it.